welcome to this, the seemingly monthly podcast about Dragon Ball, but we are always here with an important message in a more laid-back manner than you might expect. So join us as we are musing about the content of Dragon Ball here, up on the lookout. For those of you who don't know, Up on the Lookout is a Dragon Ball podcast with a difference. We are not here to ram down facts and figures down your throat like power levels and such, but we are here just to provide a general insight into this world that Toriyama created. And Toyotaro is continuing and not being quite sure about what he's doing. Joining me, as usual, is my sidekick Haverock.
Hello, I am the Walrus.
Yes, and indeed I am the Eggman, especially if you've been playing Among Us recently, but the main subject for today, we are pretty much going to be going straight into because I think this is probably the biggest chapter of Dragon Ball Super that has been going since the manga began 5 years ago. And that is chapter 65. So we're not even bothering with the little audio jingle here. We're going straight into the meat and potatoes of this. Oh, I will say actually, if you do want to become a caretaker of the Lookout to help support the actual podcast itself, you can check out mosiko.cc/lookout, and then you can get more information and then get a shout out on this very podcast. But again, chapter 65. I don't know whether people actually were aware of this, but I usually tout Viz Media, their Shonen Jump platform and portal, to get the manga legitimately of Dragon Ball Super. But while I was writing the review for it yesterday, it crashed. I've never seen that happen before.
Yeah. Like I was lucky enough to, to be able to read it in one sitting, but I saw people on Twitter complaining about this, so I was like, ooh, that's one hot of a chapter. And I think one thing we both can agree on, this chapter has been proven to be better than we thought it would be.
Yes, definitely, because the reason why Haverock and I we don't do spoiler videos about these chapters is because it's too early to say. You're getting only part of the information. I mean, the initial spoilers for this chapter focused on the first 8 pages, and there's a lot more that happens in the latter half, and there are like 50 pages in these chapters. So if you're only getting a fifth of the story, there's plenty that can easily happen in these tomes. And quite clearly, there was a twist which did save the chapter for many people, but it did get results. And it does make me think in a way, is this deliberate? Is this basically something that Toyotaro is deliberately doing to generate hype? Realizing that this is how the internet works. You get people outraged, they share their outrage, it gets people's eyeballs on the manga, and then people see it and go, oh, actually, that wasn't so bad a chapter. I am very cynical. I am very much aware of that, but
if he's doing that, I don't know if it's a good strategy. I mean, it's a good strategy to attract readers, but I don't know if it's a good strategy for the overall quality, because even in that nicer stuff, there is still some questionable decisions, and like I actually have a very, very long thought about this chapter. So,
well, this is what it's here for.
So you know how you have like many media today are giving their characters the adaptive intelligence when they are too smart, when they aren't supposed to be, where Goku has adaptative or adaptional stupidity. This chapter is taking a lot from Cell Saga, and like like you cannot argue about that. It's unapologetic, but the problem is that in the Cell Saga itself, Goku is the one to prompt Gohan to finish Cell. And suddenly he's like, oh, I don't know, Moro, maybe you can be a good guy and train and fight with me. I know that, Toyotaro and his editor, like, they talked about how, a wordplay with Ultra Instinct, how it's kind of that selfish part in here. But my biggest issue in that is that I want to see, like, if they are going the route of making Goku stupid, acknowledge it in the next arc, acknowledge it in the story, like make people being worried about this, like okay, he's dumb, but the most frustrating thing is not that Goku is stupid. The most frustrating thing is that they will, oh, Goku, you are just silly, you are just too good, you just believe that he has good in himself. No, like, you know what should happen after Moro is beaten? Goku should get a big fruity punch, but not from Merus, not from Whis, not from go back for 2 weeks later, not from Vegeta, from Krillin.
Ooh.
And from respecting Krillin, Goku won't dodge that punch. To me, you can do such interesting story arc with that, with people being, Goku, what's happening with you? Like, you can make it that it's Ultra Instinct, making him acting like that, wanting to fight, like subverting his mind into being that fighting machine. Because I tell you right now, him taking the beans from Krillin without even asking was disrespectful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is one difference from the Cell Saga, because basically, in that, Goku was just basically saying, hey, Krillin, do you mind if I have a Sensu Bean? And Krillin was immediately, Sensu Bean! As in, like, thinking it was for Goku. But this time, Goku's just like, I'll be taking these. What? Krillin didn't even get a chance to go ask him why.
And to me, it's like, okay, they are dumping him down because, like, Goku is dumped in this chapter only because we can have that narrative, and that's a shame. A lot of people say that we hope that Moro will be cunning and not like resorting to the same thing as the same villain. But I think, like, if you reread the chapters, he's extremely cunning, and I would say he is a variant of Perfect Cell, but unlike Perfect Cell, he is a villain that adapts to every situation that looks to be lost. And unlike with Perfect Cell, and we both love Perfect Cell on this channel, like, we both love him. The Nucleus thing was such a massive BS and coming out of nowhere. And here you have Moro reacting on situation. He's like, okay, this Merus guy knew that whole Ultra Instinct thing, and I still have my hand intact. I will take it. Okay, my body is trying to, is rejecting the power. So I just need something that can take the power. Oh, look, a planet. And the planet that this fool wants to protect. I will use that instead. Like, people say Moro threw a tantrum. But to me, more importantly, Cell, Semi-Perfect Cell, I don't think Semi-Perfect Cell himself knew about that the Nucleus thing at this point. And he just wanted to spitefully go down. Moro is a survivor. And, like, he didn't connect it with Earth to blow it up. He did connect it with Earth so he can continue existing.
Yeah, exactly. He knew that basically he had a feeling that they're not going to blow this planet up. And this is very important to them. Because it's very true. Because Cell had the DNA of King Cold in there as part of his makeup, which gave him that belief that he is the superior being, because that's what King Cold was all about. He believed that he was the most superior being in all of the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
He basically had this self-belief that he was the absolute best in all of existence. Whereas Moro doesn't necessarily have that. He knows he's powerful. He knows he has all this magical powers and abilities. But at the same time, he knows when he's on the back foot. He knows he has some sort of awareness that he is going to lose. But, as you say, he then recognizes that, oh wait, he puts 2 and 2 together. Moro is not dumb. Moro is incredibly smart, probably one of the most intelligent villains in the entirety of Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
So he saw the hand. He saw, oh, okay, my hand's intact. And the jewel is intact. And wait, I touched Merus just for a microsecond before he got chopped off. So he thinks, if I can just transmogrify my arm and just combine and fuse, because he can, like, obviously fuse his body together, he just reattaches his hand and then boom, everything fixes itself. And there you go. It's very clever in that sense of like, but I'm sorry, it was a little bit convenient. Just, oh, this one little bit of land that just neatly, very tidily has the hand on it.
But tell me that's not Dragon Ball. Like, it's very Dragon Ball. Come on.
It is very Dragon Ball. I mean, it would have been much more convenient if it was like, well, okay, it would have been a bit more realistic if it was just in the corner somewhere, the hand just like propped up against some rocks or something like that. It just like been blown away in all of the crossfire and stuff like that. That would have been a bit more organic, but
unlike the nucleus thing, which I can appreciate, this didn't come out of nowhere. This was like, you can spot it. Like before that, the hand is there, and people speculated about this for months. Which I think is another credit towards it.
Yeah, we were doing that too.
Again, like to me, the biggest problem is that they could play out this in many different ways. Like they could have Galactic Patrol wanting to arrest Moro alive, you know. He might have ambushed Krillin. I know that this would be taking, you know, Krillin as a hostage again, but like making Goku into that and really, really not following with that. Like if they don't follow with everyone being angry at Goku, that's gonna be incredibly weak, because listen, you can have an amazing storyline when Beerus and Whis decide to seal Goku's power because he's unworthy anymore, because he's dangerous and he needs to go on a journey of self-discovery again, which would be like, you can make a great nostalgic journey with that, you know?
Yeah. Now that could be good, because like Whis could have the ability. The thing is though, they've kept Whis deliberately mysterious, as in like you don't know the full extent of an angel's powers, and that's for good reason, because that means the writers can basically do whatever they want, and the audience won't really question it. You know, they're not going to get really, really analytical about it, or as much as with other characters. So Whis could basically come up to Goku and say, I don't think you're worthy of this power anymore, or at least not right now. I am going to lock your powers away until you actually learn how to use them responsibly. Because in this chapter, and this is something I said in my main review, that Whis is now getting impatient, and he uses the line, if you intend to defeat Moro, kill him this instant. Backing him into a corner past this point is unwise. So basically, he straight up told Goku, yeah, if you are actually planning to be doing this tomorrow, then get on with it. And this is Whis here, who is probably one of the most relaxed characters. Yeah.
My freaking brother sacrificed so you can defeat this guy. And I think that was like angels don't show emotion, but like I can only imagine how he feels about Goku doing that.
It's something pretty laudable, like pretty noble for an angel who's not really supposed to care. I mean, Whis doesn't fully understand it, but he does understand it somewhat. Like he did something pretty brave and he followed through on his beliefs. So that's something justifiable. And then you look at page 43, and you see like, you know, Jarko terrified, Krillin like, what the? Beerus is like, yeah, isn't curious. Whis is just like, you dumb mortal. Like, Whis looks pissed. So that just sums it up in a nutshell. That Whis is pretty much just like, oh my god, I can't believe you done this.
Yeah, like Whis is done with Goku at this point, and I really wanted to go somewhere and to make it like, to make their, at least for a bit, to make their relation deteriorate after this, like to cause a rift between the two.
Yes, and in turn, this leads to End of Z. That this could be a plausible thing, that this is why Beerus and Whis are not around at End of Z. And I know a lot of people do think that we're being overly analytical about those 3 episodes at the End of Z, but based on all the stuff that we know, they are fully intending to keep those 3 episodes in lore, as in they're not planning to retcon them anytime soon. That's not in their intention. So the end point of Dragon Ball Z, and in theory Super, is still intact. It's just a case of, well, how do you explain not using Super Saiyan Blue? And I know that people are going to say, oh, well, Super Saiyan Blue wasn't around at the time. But there's no mention or no acknowledgement. But we know that Oob still exists. So this is the thing, is that we need to find out what is this point where Whis and Beerus start to doubt that Goku is worthy of having this power. I mean, Vegeta is much more worthy because he uses his power and he's more resourceful with it. But Goku, the one that they've been really championing, is they got it wrong. And, you know, Whis just goes, so it's come to this. As in, like, really? Have we... Why has it come to this where basically Moro has been allowed to do what he wants and basically just rule the roost? But I guarantee you that in chapter 66, because we've had recent news, courtesy of the Twitter user DBS Hype, that the new arc will be starting at the very earliest in December. So in chapter 67 will be the beginning of the new arc. So there is one more chapter of this being wrapped up. And in theory, it has to be a very quick ending.
I mean, at this point, I think for Spirit Vision is obvious.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be Vegeta going like, "I'm back, bitches!" And then he just literally just punches the ground because in theory, Moro has become the planet. So all he has to do is basically punch the Earth and, you know, absorb the power so that means Moro's body has to defuse with the planet because he's not strong enough. Or he basically just withers up. And then they either have to kill him, and Vegeta's the one to do it.
You know what I'm wondering about? Sorry, because like he still have some of the people that 7-3 has absorbed. Can he diffuse this energy from the 7-3 part? Can he diffuse 7-3? And if so, can he like create a copy of Merus out of this power? Can he like get some power? This crossed my mind. This crossed my mind.
This crossed my mind too. And a lot of people were getting really jaded, say, oh, let me guess. Does this mean that Merus is somehow still alive and that he gets to live through Moro? Like, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. I mean...
Unless we will have, you know, evil version of Merus. That could be...
Oh, I mean, it's just like... I don't know. Merus' sacrifice was extremely noble and very defining, and Goku needs to understand consequence. But Merus is ending up still alive. It completely negates that, and Goku thinks, oh, thank God I got away with that. As in, like, he got away with it. Again. Please, we cannot have Goku getting away with stuff like this.
Again, if, you know, anyone, you know, connected to the manga listens to this, guys, you, like, if you are going to do this with Goku, you need to punish the character, because as a protagonist, he stops being believable. Nobody claims that Goku needs to be perfect, but the most annoying thing is him getting away with stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I mean... this needs to have some sort of significance that Merus did something really, really major, and Goku has to honor it and make sure that Merus' sacrifice wasn't in vain. But at the moment, it seems like it absolutely was in vain. Basically, Merus put his trust way too much in Goku to be, you know, responsible with it. I mean, and it also goes to show that, Mastered Ultra Instinct is very, very powerful indeed. But can it be trusted? At the moment, no. I mean, Ultra Instinct Sign or Omen, maybe. He has still some sort of, consciousness in that form. But in this form, no.
He's so cocky. Yeah, he's so cocky in this power. Like again, and that might be the downside of the power. Many problems that we have with this chapter can be solved with a simple acknowledgement, embracing not only the good stuff but also the bad stuff. Because, again, here's the thing: like Goku was never a Superman type, and that's not the annoying thing. The annoying thing is how the characters worship him despite him making some really, really stupid mistakes.
He done goofed, and that means all of the people aren't going to be taking it anymore. That's the thing. Goku needs to be made aware of that, and so far he hasn't been. It's just something that really is just really getting on people's nerves now. And in the comments of our review video, it was basically people were getting sick and tired of Dragon Ball. It's turning people off. And yeah, despite the fact the chapter ended up not being as bad as people feared it might be, it still alienated a lot of fans. And I'm sorry. I think Unreal Gaming made a comparison that basically Cell in total had 4 transformations. So he had imperfect, semi-perfect, perfect, and super perfect. Now, but Merus contributed to that change. That's super perfect Cell. Basically, it's super perfect Moro. Nostalgia. You like nostalgia, right? Here's more nostalgia. There you go. And yeah, nostalgia's good, but you need to innovate. But the thing, what makes it complicated is that Toyotaro has sort of innovated in that using the idea of a planet, Moro becoming one with the planet Earth, yeah, that is something visually spectacular. And it's something different. It's enough to make people not be fully aggravated with this chapter. So, okay, I'll give them that.
I still I think I still agree with I think it was Scott Kaiser who wrote this on Twitter that Planet Moro is probably one of the most Toriyama things we got in a while. It's very it is goofy, but at the same time or floor Moro as people call it, but it is very Toriyama. I can imagine Toriyama doing things like that, and I'm not mad about that. I still think he would be even creepier if he had his ghost note and it was a proper goat cave of wonders. And again, I'm not mad about this. I think it's kind of cool, but the problem is that it's also problem with with when you look at the fan base of established property. I'm not saying that it's not their fault, because it's totally is their fault. But when you look at the fandoms, sometimes the continuation works just fine. With Super, there's the problem because there are people who want totally new things. There are people who are fine with rehashing the same thing over and over and over and over again. You need to somehow sell it to the children. The manga is aimed at older readers because it's more violent. So if you are doing it more violent, why don't make it more mature in other ways, as in writing? I said it many times that I think that the biggest problem with Toyotaro is that he never went past the fanfic stage, and that he might improved in visual sense a bit, but he's still very much a fanfic writer. And he doesn't quite understand payoffs. Like the Moro arm thing was kind of a payoff, but he doesn't understand paying off for something that was built up in the beginning. He doesn't quite he doesn't got the basics. He jumped from very amateur way of writing straight to professional, and he never tried to get through in between.
I will agree with that, because it's a case of with the idea of a fan fiction writer, and this is what we have to deal with a lot of the time, is that we cannot innovate, because if we do innovate or try something new, people will say, "Oh, that's not Dragon Ball." So we have to be very mindful of keeping things within the lore, unless we're doing an April Fool, whatever, of course. We basically just have to work with what we've got and try and work around things that are in keeping with what we are used to in Dragon Ball. But with Toyotaro, the shackles are free. He can do that. He can come up with something new because he has the blessing of Toriyama, who can in turn give him notes. So there are sources straight from the original creator where Toyotaro is being given complete carte blanche to go, hey, if you've got an idea, why don't you do it? Because people will accept it, much more so than fanfic, but Toyotaro can't quite do it. He doesn't feel confident enough to be able to come up with brand new things all the time when it comes to story beats. In terms of adding new characters, vertical integration with species and worlds that we already know, yeah, he can do that. Yeah, he's good at that. Like with the Ardratians, that's fantastic. With Pibara, that's been a huge addition to the lore of Dragon Ball, which has been really positive and stuff that we've used in our what ifs to great effect. It's such a big thing. That's one of the big pluses of this arc, the Ardratians and Pibara. But when it comes to the plot and giving characters other than Goku something to do and all that stuff, he's not quite there. He's not confident enough, and he does not have enough conviction to be able to say, this is what I want to do with this series, and I'm going to stick to it, and you guys are going to go along with this. And I will take responsibility if it's bad. He just goes, I can't break away. He can't fully break away. It's such a shame because it seemed like this arc was his primarily, Toyotaro's. And for definitely up to chapter 60, it was going great. Like, this was, people were debating, is this the best arc of Dragon Ball ever? At least from Dragon Ball Z onwards. Arguably, yes. But the last few chapters have just been a bit elongated. Deliberately so. And Vegeta's thing, it didn't go anywhere. Unless next chapter, it happens there.
I mean, it had to. At this point, it had to.
It has to. It definitely has to. Because otherwise, if it doesn't...
It's pointless. It just pointless. Like honestly. It's just pointless if they don't do this.
It's what's the point of giving Vegeta all of this power other than just, we didn't know what else to do with him, so he goes to Yardrat for a few chapters?
For the most of the chapter, Goku was in the background. Like, we were focused more on the other characters. And suddenly we toss him in, and because he's Goku, and he has to take, and he has to take, the lead. Like we actually have discussion coming this week when we are recording about why Goku isn't that great of a protagonist anymore, and I think this chapter is something that proves that Goku doesn't work anymore on those levels of powers. And again, like, I will tell you something really, really important. Even if that arc won't end on the down note, where do you go from there? With punching a literal planet eater turning into a planet. Like you need new leads because the power levels are starting to be ridiculous. What will they start punching each themselves through time? Like, will we have Gogeta Broly fight be a normal thing?
Yeah. I mean, the only way that I can see them actually doing something creative and different is to actually finally go to Universe 6. Spend some time on Sadala. That's what is going to be welcomed because people want that. You need to have some sort of thing which is completely alien to Universe 7 in Universe 6 with Kaba, Caulifla, and Kale. That will generate a lot of hype. Especially, are you going to have Super Saiyan 3 Caulifla? Oh, yes, please. Kaba going Super Saiyan God? Yes, we definitely want that.
And at the same time, you can have Plot B in Universe 7 with humans and other characters like thwarting Frieza's plans or something.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a mini arc with, Goku and Vegeta are off at Universe 6. The rest of everybody else has to then deal with Frieza trying to be opportunistic. And then proving that either Gohan's training has actually proved something, or somebody else rises up.
Yeah, like again, you can do cool stuff, but we are getting to the point when when Goku is not a believable protagonist anymore, and especially like he says that he never fought someone as strong. Like how much above Jiren or even Broly Moro is at this point. Like he's leagues above those guys right now.
I mean, Broly's not that far away, but he is still stronger than Broly. But you feel like Gogeta Blue could stop Moro. He could. But I mean, with Broly, that was like a cakewalk. Gogeta Blue was toying with him. So you feel like it would at least be a very equal fight. Maybe with Gogeta having the slight upper hand, but we don't have that. And I almost kind of was like, you know what? I'd prefer that than having Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, to be honest. And I don't like Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. I don't like that version. I prefer the Fusion Reborn version, because that's such a distinctive version. Because I'm thinking, no, this is just a palette swap of Vegito that we've got. And yeah, I prefer Gogeta, but I don't like this Gogeta. And it's only just because there is no difference between the two fusions anymore. It's like, what method of fusion do you have at the time? You still end up with the same combination. But anyway, let's get to our closing thoughts. I think our closing thoughts for this would be like, it's not the worst chapter of this arc. It's not. And as we've said many times, and I'm sure that other sources have said, the entire chapter is okay. It's just Goku dragging it down. Everything else, good. Everything else was good. And I like the fact that Krillin, Jarko, Whis, they were basically starting to get very...
Beerus.
Yeah, and Beerus. Beerus to a lesser extent. Because Beerus usually complains a lot of the time anyway.
You're right.
That's less surprising with him. But with Whis, Krillin, Jarko, they're all getting angry at Goku. And the only way you can actually have it is that, as you said, Krillin needs to be the one to say to Goku, what the hell are you doing? You almost risked the planet. And this needs to this would be the most effective at getting through to Goku. That his best friend is telling him, what's wrong with you?
I don't know who you are anymore, yeah.
And that needs to be the most effective. And, okay, Whis is a close second, because at the moment, Whis is the strongest person that Goku knows on the daily. And if Whis is telling him, look, I am getting very concerned about you, Goku. What's going on? And Whis could still probably put him in check. But, I bet even Whis is now starting to think, how long can that last? With the potential that Goku has, he might start troubling Whis, at least making him having to try, whereas Whis has never had to try it in his life, ever. But now he might. Just that slight possibility is enough to give cause for concern for Whis and all of the angels. Food for thought there. And as you said, it could easily lead to Whis capping Goku's power and only letting him have it as a last resort. That could be a way of bringing the stakes down a bit, as in like stopping power creep, as in like literally Goku cannot use it. How about Whis putting this power that if Goku ever tries to use that Mastered Ultra Instinct power again, the same thing that happened with Merus, basically the cosmos going, nope. So basically, that could be really effective.
That wouldn't stop Goku. Like Goku. Like Goku fighting is at the first place. He was like, yeah, like okay, I will vanish fighting. No, he needs to turn it off. I think it's a cool idea, but for more selfish character in terms of their own survival, not Goku. Goku would gladly be erased while fighting.
The difference this time being is that the cosmos would erase him from existence entirely. No coming back in the other world. Nada. Absolutely nothing. His existence is completely gone.
I don't think he's concerned. I don't have that much faith in Goku that he would be concerned about this.
But it's more narratively speaking in terms of shocking the audience. That's shock value, as in like, if you do this, you will be erased. As in, and Goku could say, I don't care about that. That he can say that all he likes until the cows come home, but that's enough to make the audience go like, oh, okay, all right, there is some kind of peril here, some sort of a peril, or as much peril as you can get, But I think that's what we'll round up wrapping this up, because chapter not as much of a lost cause as we initially thought, but Goku was a liability here.
Yeah, lesson of the day, guys, don't give don't give senzu beans to evil ramen man, please.
Krillin needs to put them in a locked bag. Really, he needs to have a fanny pack because fanny packs are back in now. So yeah, definitely needs that. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening to this special Up on the Lookout review of Dragon Ball Super Chapter 65. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you're staying safe. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, you can go to massacre.cc/lookout for more information. Until next time, everybody, I hope you're all having a good day, and we shall hear you or see you again soon. Ta-da!
Bye-bye.